Hello everybody. In this video, we will try to understand what happens when Jupiter is in Bharani nakshatra. So, if you want to understand this particular energy, first you have to understand what is Bharani nakshatra. Bharani is the second nakshatra in the whole nakshatra system and it is ruled by Venus. It's a planetary ruler is Venus. And another important thing is this Bharani nakshatra is governed by Yama, the god of karma, justice, and life and death cycles. So, Yama is the only person who knows how to direct his soul once the soul leaves human body. So, he has lot of knowledge about soul's journey. No other deity in Vedic astrology system has this much of knowledge. So Yama knows when to take the soul and he can direct the soul once it leaves the human body. And Bharani is very much famous for transformation. So you cannot see a person without transformation in life with Bharani energy in his horoscope. So the main pattern of Bharani nakshatra is severe transformation in life, because as Bharani is about birth and death cycle, it's related to Yama. Yama is a principle basically. Instead of saying just a deity, it's a principle. Yama is a principle where you have to follow certain rules so that the whole soul's journey is possible. You can say that. And Bharani is mainly about moral responsibility. So whenever a person has lot of Bharani energy, moral responsibility is one of the key themes present in that native's life. And Bharani is about intense desires. The kind of desires Bharani energy gives is very, very intense. So Bharani is also very much famous for its sexual energy and creative energy. And carrying heavy karmic burdens is one of the most important things of Bharani nakshatra. Whenever a person has Bharani energy, the person in their life can get heavy karmic burden. So he has to complete, these people have to complete that karmic burden. And creation and destruction, this is the fundamental theme of Bharani nakshatra because it deals with the life and death cycles. And the symbolism of Bharani nakshatra is mother's womb, or generally it can be any womb, even it can be a cosmic womb. Just before the creation of the universe, the whole universe was in a cosmic womb, you can say, right? So even that womb, so womb is able to create something. Womb is able to create some new things altogether, right? So if you take mother's womb, it can deliver babies, and you can take the cosmic womb, it can deliver a complete universe, right? So, and then see, the womb basically creates life but also carries pain and pressure before birth, right? So whether you think in terms of universal scheme of things or you think in terms of the earthly plane, where a human, a mother is possessing a baby in the womb and feeling that pain and pressure before giving birth to the child. Or if you think in terms of universal scheme of things and the cosmic womb possessing a very big universe inside, and it is nourishing the whole universe, and finally the universe is coming into the picture one day, right? So this is all creation of some life. It can be in the universal level or it can be in the materialistic earthly plane level. Basically Bharani energy can create life. So Bharani natives often go through intense life experiences that transform them. Just imagine the kind of pressure, the kind of controlled system a mother has in the womb when before delivering a baby, right? And also just imagine the kind of intense cosmic pressure, or the kind of karmic pressure a particular cosmic womb would have before delivering a universe. So that's why Bharani is very much famous for this carrying heavy karmic burdens, right? It's not a simple karmic burden. When a mother is, carrying a baby, it's a kind of a very intensive, it's a very pressurized process. It's a kind of painful process as well, right? So whenever you talk about Bharani, that's why you say pain and pressure, you talk about life and death kind of situation, you talk about heavy karmic burden. Now, what is the nature of Jupiter? Jupiter represents wisdom. That is a fundamental thing in Vedic astrology. Mercury represents intelligence, Venus represents your desire, Jupiter represents your wisdom, right? This is a core theme. Oh, and Jupiter also represents dharma, is the lord of the natural ninth house, that is Sagittarius. So ninth house always talks about dharma, the righteous path, the rules, the religious rules. So Jupiter is all about that. It is also about higher knowledge, and teachers and gurus are generally represented as Jupiters in Vedic astrology. And philosophy, Jupiter has some philosophy, Jupiter has morality. Jupiter's fundamental behavior is expansion. Jupiter is a very big planet, and whatever it touches, it tries to expand it. And Jupiter wants truth. Jupiter gives a lot of importance to it, ethics, teaching, spiritual evolution as well. So when this Jupiter is sitting in the nakshatra like Bharani, how it behaves, how it feels basically, right? So Bharani is ruled by Venus, while Jupiter represents divine wisdom. And now, in astrology, we say Venus is always about material pleasures, whereas Jupiter is about spiritual wisdom. So the native often experiences a kind of inner conflict between pleasure and morality. When Jupiter is sitting in the Bharani nakshatra, there's a conflict between pleasure and morality. What Jupiter is saying? Jupiter is saying you should have some morale, right? You should do the things morally good. But Venus, the Bharani's energy, is saying, I have intense desire. I want a lot of pleasure, right? Now the person has to balance this pleasure and morality. So now the native would feel like, should I follow desire or dharma, right? And the native will also feel like, should I enjoy life or follow some kind of spiritual discipline? So this produces a kind of deep psychological growth, right? So initially, in the initial part of life, let us say the person is getting some kind of good amount of chances to enjoy pleasure, but he would be thinking about his wisdom. His Jupiter is saying, of course you're getting chances to enjoy pleasure, but what about your morality? Are you following some kind of morality or not? Question yourself. So initially the person would be starting with questioning himself, but finally as time progresses, as age progresses, as a person is becoming older and older, the person would have some kind of a very clarity, a very good clarity in thinking. Okay, now I am following some kind of I am giving more importance to dharma, or now I am going to give more importance to pleasure. So this kind of balance and this kind of self-awareness the person would have once the person passes some kind of age. And I want to talk about role of Yama also, because Yama is the deity of Bharani nakshatra. People with Jupiter here often become very aware of karma, right? That's what I'm talking about. Initially, in the early days of life, it just starts with a question like, I should give importance to spirituality or dharma, or I should give more importance to my pleasure. So this is the question that they start with, but as time passes by, as the age grows, they can become very self-aware about both the things, the dharma and the pleasure. So many develop strong beliefs like justice must be done, right? Because of Jupiter's presence in Bharani nakshatra as Yama's effect here, the person feels like, okay, justice must be done. Wrong actions must have consequences, and truth eventually wins. This kind of psychological depth they can develop as time passes by. So if I feel this particular placement people, I feel better they become judges because they can clearly understand these kind of things like pleasure or dharma. So this kind of concepts whole, which is correct, which is wrong, or whether they are giving importance to so and so emotion, so and so thing or not, and even the others are giving to what others are giving importance. So this kind of awareness they can very easily develop. That's what I feel. So they can be very good as judges, as advisors, as moral teachers, because they can explain very clearly about they can differentiate these things very very clearly, I feel. So they can be very good spiritual guides as well. So you now understand, right? Jupiter, when Jupiter is in Bharani, what kind of teaching that they can do, right? Now you can understand better, right? So even legal professionals, they can be good as legal professionals because given a situation or given a person's behavior, they can understand, okay, this person is giving a lot of importance to so and so behavior, so and so things, right? So they can be very good as legal professionals as well. And uh, if this particular placement, Jupiter in Bharani nakshatra, if is not afflicted, means if this particular Jupiter is not sitting on Rahu Ketu axis, or if Saturn or Mars is not watching this Jupiter, then I feel this particular position is a kind of positive. And even if Jupiter is not functionally malefic, that is, Jupiter is, if Jupiter is not the lord of 6th, 8th or 12th house, then this Jupiter must be considered as a positive Jupiter. Then the person would have some deep understanding of human suffering. They can understand, that's why I said they can be good as judges. And they, if as this Jupiter I talked about, without having any kind of affliction here means Jupiter sitting on Rahu Ketu axis. When Jupiter sits on Rahu Ketu axis, we say Jupiter is afflicted. And if it is not aspected by a Saturn or Mars, then it becomes positive. And also if this Jupiter is not the lord of 6th house or 8th house or 12th house, then this particular Jupiter is much more positive, I would say. Then with this positive Jupiter, they can have some strong moral compass also. They have ability to guide people through difficult transformations as well, and they have compassion for people going through pain, and they have philosophical thinking, right? So very very good placement if this is not aspected by any malefic, if it does not have any malefic aspect. Because see, when Saturn and Mars, even though if they are functionally benefic to your ascendant, but still their aspects are malefic. So we say whether Saturn and Mars are functionally benefic or malefic to your ascendant, it doesn't matter. Their aspects are always malefic. So please watch out for this particular aspect, right? And when a planet is sitting on Rahu Ketu axis, we say some of the behaviors of that planet are kind of either they would be compressed or they would be kind of abnormally expanded. So we say it's a kind of affliction. When a planet is sitting on Rahu Ketu axis, the planet is said to be afflicted, right? It becomes a kind of abnormal behavior, with respect to that planet. The planet's behavior becomes a bit abnormal, right? So, and also, if that planet to be very positive, let us say here in our case, if Jupiter to be very positive, it should not be a lord of 6th, 8th and 12th house lord, right? Then it becomes a very very positive Jupiter. And with that kind of Jupiter, we can have so many positive things. And what if it is a negative thing, means when it's afflicted or some kind of malefic aspect is present, or If it is not working positive, then you can say the native would show some kind of moral superiority, right? A kind of judgmental attitude all the time, and a kind of inner guilt is always present about pleasures. Inner guilt, something like, even if the situation is given, even if the person finds a situation where he can get some kind of pleasure, but still somewhere inside the person feels guilt. Okay, am I doing wrong, and with this kind of behavior the person would never enjoy the pleasure, right? So that is another problem I can see. And another thing is struggles between indulgence and discipline. This is another important thing. Means there's a kind of continuous conflict between the Jupiterian behavior and Venusian behavior, right? So this is what I can see when this Jupiter is not working positively. And I want to talk something about the psychological pattern this particular placement can give. So people with Jupiter in Bharani often experience life lessons through intense experiences. The experiences are intense because of Bharani's energy. Bharani is always in a kind of intense nakshatra, I would always say. So the relationship karma associated with this particular placement is intense. So through relationships they can learn a lot of things in their life. And another thing is the moral dilemmas, whether I should do it or not, whether I should give more importance to my pleasure or for my spirituality. So there's a kind of continuous struggle for them, and responsibility towards others should always be present in their life. It's always present, I see, right? So Bharani is always about kind of responsibility. When you talk to a Bharani energy person, he always thinks about some kind of responsibilities, because if you see the Bharani energy, this energy is responsible for delivering universe or delivering a baby, that kind of energy. So when a person is trying to deliver another person, or when a particular situation or the particular cosmic womb is generating another universe, you just see how much responsibility that particular energy is possessing. So Bharani always it always possesses some kind of responsibility towards others. And learning wisdoms through mistakes is another important theme that you can observe with this placement, because Jupiter is always about learning. So thereby learning is also kind of the Jupiter teaches you the wisdom basically. And the Jupiter's wisdom is a kind of learning wisdom. You learn wisdom, that's the speciality of Jupiter. And Bharani is always about that kind of intense actions. So you may make some mistakes, so you learn all the wisdom in your life through mistakes. So that is the fundamental energy of Jupiter in Bharani. So or sometimes, if not mistakes, I would say suffering, or a kind of transformation, or a kind of responsibility. So you learn things, you learn wisdom through through kind of mistakes or suffering or responsibility or transformation, right? So it's not a wisdom through books. I would not say Jupiter and Bharani people learn a lot of wisdom through books alone, right? They might be learning something through books as well, but their wisdom is always, most of the times, it comes by doing some mistakes, or because of some suffering, because of responsibility, because of transformation. They learn a lot of wisdom by all this. And I would see some kind of life events in their life. This placement frequently produces certain life themes, like they may struggle between enjoyment, discipline, and morality. That is one of the main theme for them, and based on that only they learn. Their life events go by them only. And another important thing is, the person is a very, very good spiritual teacher at some point of time in their life. It can be a good philosopher, a very good spiritual reformer, or a kind of spiritual counselor. They have this kind of energy at some period of time in their life for sure. And generally I have seen this placement in so many psychologists, in the horoscopes of so many psychologists or spiritual healers and lawyers, reformers, even in some social activities, activists, they have this kind of placement. And teachers, you can see n number of teachers who talk about morality having this placement, right? So this is the whole theme of this particular thing. So this is what I can see from this particular placement. And other than that, I don't see. So generally, when Jupiter is present in Bharani, a person's desires would be a bit multiplied, a bit amplified. So they get a lot of situations, or they can try to create a lot of situations to have pleasure in their life. But at the time of pleasure, at the especially in the early days of their life, early part of their life, even though they are getting a lot of situations to enjoy pleasure, or even though they are creating a lot of opportunities or situations to enjoy pleasure, but still they have some kind of dilemma. They have a kind of conflict between these two, pleasure and dharma, whether they have to enjoy this pleasure now, or they have to follow some kind of dharma. So this kind of dilemma they would have. This is a fundamental pattern of this particular energy, because Bharani, when you talk about Bharani, you generally talk about sexuality, right? So this is what I see from this placement. Thanks for watching this video.